guys, how's it going? So this video is going to be pretty short because I'm just working on one project this evening. It's 101 degrees outside right now and I'm already beating up sweat even though I haven't started to work, so this is going to be interesting. But the area I'm working on is where our old rose garden used to be. I'm putting in our lavender hedge tonight. This area is a complete mess. Let me turn the camera around and show it to you. So here it is. Actually, let me walk over here and show you the other direction. I think you might be able to kind of get a better idea direction here. Yeah, that looks a little bit more clear. So you can see this walkway right here. Let's see, starts right here. Leads up to the back sun porch. This is actually the door that we use a lot though. That leads into our kitchen. Before, when the roses were here, they were huge and they reached way out into the walkway. So they would always snag you as you walked by. It just really wasn't an ideal location for roses. Also, there's a huge maple tree right here which shaded not this part. This actually is in sun for a good portion of the day, but the back part isn't, except like we're kind of getting into later part of the evening and it gets a little tiny bit of sun, but not enough to keep roses happy. So I'm hoping that the lavender will be happy on this side. I think it will be. This side gets a bit more sun than the right side, but I want to do lavender starting where there's the tiny tot thuyas on each side, arborvitae. We'll plant the lavender along the walkway, and this one is capped by another tiny tot, and I want to cap this side. I want to cap this side with a tiny tot as well, so that it's, you know, evergreens on either end and lavender all the way here. It's kind of awkward because of this area here. The plan is to actually change this entire area. I want to get rid of all of this, like the fence, and move the lamppost and make it a little bit more wide and a welcoming entrance, and probably put black fencing if we use fencing. Again, just make it different. So I'm kind of just doing something that's actually not that expensive. Lavender I bought in 4-inch cans, so they were just like a few dollars a piece. And so I figure, you know, I can plant that and enjoy it for 5 years, and then I could either transplant it or just dig it out and put something else in when I'm ready, and then I don't have a ton of money into it. But you guys know how it goes. You have a list, a mile-long list of projects and priorities that you want to get done, and we actually have to get a new AC unit put in our house next year. You know, stuff like that, like the unfun stuff that you have to pay for. So the new entryway will wait. I just want to make it a little bit better than it was. So here's the lavender right here. I have a couple flats of it. This is actually my favorite lavender, but just because I have the most experience with it. It's called Munstead. Right there, I had a beautiful hedge of Munstead in our old garden. It only grows 12 to 18 inches tall and wide, which I thought would be really perfect for this walkway area, so it won't get huge and overtake, because you guys know there are quite a few lavenders that get massive, which I love them, but this is not the right place for it. And then right behind the lavender, you can see I've got a few incredible hydrangeas, which I showed you in our last garden tour. My thought was to do, let me back up one more time. My thought was to do the lavender hedge here. I've got a boxwood hedge that's been growing that leads to our fireplace area. So eventually that'll be a really sharp structure piece right here. I'll have it hedged really sharply. And then if we had this whole area mass planted with incredible hydrangeas, I thought it would be absolutely stunning. And we could kind of do the same thing on this side, which means I might be moving these plants that I just put in, but it looks beautiful right now. I mean, you guys can see the AHA. Those are the Tough Stuff AHA hydrangeas with the Gold Coast hostas. There's a Crimson Queen Japanese maple, and then here are the Hippo pinks, which I'm going to have to move, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 of these, which is okay, maybe 6. And I'll just kind of shift them up around here, which actually might help finish this area off. It's just been bugging me, you guys. Look at all the drip tubes showing. There's like a pile of junk there. More drip tube. So there's really not a whole lot to planting a lavender hedge. You just want to make sure you have it in an area that's really well draining. They don't like to be sitting in water whatsoever, and I can completely control the water here because I've got drip to this area. So I'm going to run the drip tubing right up against the lavender right now, but I can eventually move it away once the plants are established, and that way they won't get quite as much water. You also want to put them in a spot that gets at least, at a bare minimum, 6 to 8 hours of sun. And I know that this side right here does get at least 6 hours. I don't think it gets quite 8. The other side probably gets more along the lines of 8. So we'll see how they do. If they grow you know, at the same rate, or if they get kind of weird. I don't know. It's an experiment. But if you can put them in a spot that gets full day sun, like all day long, they would be so happy. The tools I'm going to be using are very simple. I've got my kneeling pad, which I'll link down below. This is the best kneeling pad ever. It's like a gel one, and it's big, which I love. This is the little trowel that I use all the time. This one is from Gardener's Supply. I use this to plant all of my 4-inch annuals, which I plant hundreds of them. So this comes in really, really handy. And I've got my gloves, and then of course some Biotone starter fertilizer, which I'll be tossing into each hole. So I just probably rambled on a lot more than I needed to, but I just wanted to give you an kind of a glimpse of the area and kind of an explanation behind the thought process here. And so now I'm gonna plant. Alright guys, before I actually get these lavender in the ground, I just wanted to show you how I laid them out, just because I have to be pretty precise because they are flanking a walkway and I want it to be very formal looking. So I did use a ruler, which is something I rarely use out in the garden. They sit 18 inches apart from each other on center. So from the center of this lavender to the center of this lavender is 18 inches. And then they sit back from the edge of the brick back to the can about a foot. So I just did 12 inches there. So I don't care if they kind of grace the sidewalk a little bit. In fact, I think that would be pretty. I just didn't want them coming way out into the sidewalk, and I wanted to give them plenty of room to grow. They also had to line up, and from this vantage point you can't tell, but they do line up with each other. See, if you move down the way, they line up perfectly with each other. So I think it should work out perfect. I had one left over. Can you believe that? Oh, I should mention too, on this side, I went ahead, I'm going to plant 3 as well. So the lavender hedge will come down this side, and then it'll turn the corner. I'm gonna remove a little bit of this lamium, and I'll plant 3 right here to kind of join the whole idea together. Oh my gosh, you guys, don't you just love it? It's amazing how much it changed the look of this bed. I cannot wait till it grows and fills in, because it will create, like I said, they get about 18 inches wide, which I actually don't believe that tag. I think they get a little bit wider. So they should come all the way to the brick, maybe even over to the edge of the gray concrete, and then, you know, equally as wide on that side. So they'll take a pretty good portion here. And then I'll start in with my Incrediballs, probably just 1, 2, 3, and then I'll start in with 2, 3, you know, kind of just widen it out toward that area over there. And then I did get my 3 lavender planted right in here. So I don't know if I spaced those out exactly. I think it looks about right. That little drip tube was kind of in the way. So the only thing I have left to do then is I'm gonna hand water them in tonight. I'm actually not gonna run the drip line until we have this area a little bit more buttoned up. I think we've been having some guys work on the water system, some professionals, and they have a little bit more to work on in the box over there. So I don't really wanna mess with any drip tubing and mess anything up or get anything in their way. So I'm just gonna hand water it for the next couple of days. And then, like I said, I'll be running just one line, one drip tube line behind each hedge, and then as they establish and kind of grow a little bit more, I'll move the line out a little bit so that the water's not directly on them, because lavender really likes the water or the soil to drain quickly. They don't want to be sitting in water at really any time. So that's pretty much it for today's video. I just wanted to make sure that you guys were seeing the progress of what's going on here. I'm really excited about it, excited to make it more my own and more of my style, I guess. And I think everything's gonna be evolving anyway, because we might find out that maybe the hydrangeas won't like as much sun as it gets on that end of the bed. I don't know, you know, we'll just see how it goes, and that's kind of the fun of it. Try something out. If it works, awesome. If it doesn't, move the plant somewhere else in your garden. But it's just a really exciting project. I'm really glad that we kind of tackled this. It wasn't something I was thinking we were gonna do this year, but you know, it just happened. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.